want to promote in the state of Kentucky. Liberty, the county seat of Casey County. Casey County population, 15,054. Area square miles, 445. Rank, 20. Casey County is located in the 5th Congressional District.
Casey County was formed in December of 1806 from Lincoln County. It was actually started functioning as a county in 1807. We have the tax records from 1807. Governor Greenup appointed the officials for the county in December. The county is named, the town, the county seat of the town is named Liberty, and it was named that by Revolutionary War soldiers who received grants in this area for their service. Some of them, of course, settled here, and some of them didn't. Of course, at that time, it's my understanding that the state required that there was sufficient population in a county to petition for separation. I've never been able to find that, but I found the names of an awful lot of people because of land grants and so forth.
What can you tell us about the courthouse? How old is this courthouse, and were there any that were here before this?
Well, everything indicates that there were 3 courthouses here. Recently, we received through the mail the record of the first 10 years of the county, the first order book, or the minutes it's called. We don't know whether the order book is still missing or whether this is all there is at that time. The first courthouse was received in the town of Liberty on September the 11th, 1809. The second courthouse was built here in 1844. We have pictures of that in this history. And then this third courthouse was built in 1888. This courthouse was built for $15,000.
Goodness.
We have gate factories, and we have Oshkosh, and we have small industries. Of course, we don't have industries, larger industries that would bring a lot of income into the county. Of course, that affects the economy of the county if you don't have sufficient industry to support it. This is primarily an agricultural county, and of course agriculture is depressed at this time. But Casey County has some of the richest soil you'll find any place, the most beautiful apples you'll find any place, and of course we're promoting that with our big apple festival.
When is that?
That's the last weekend in September of each year. And for the last, well, since 1975, I think it is, we've cooked a huge apple pie. We started out with an 8-foot pie, and now I think it's progressed to a 10-foot pie.
Mm-hmm.
Takes something like 60 bushels of apples.
Goodness.
Love Kentucky unconditionally. There's no question about this. There are no people in this country who hold the state in any higher esteem than we do right here in Kentucky. We have a very special relationship with our Commonwealth, you and I do, and we've had it all our lives. And nowhere is that any more evident than right here at Fancy Farm. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you today, it is no longer enough that we simply love Kentucky. Because true love, true care, and true concern dictate that we must be active in our passion for this state, that we must do something about the problems that we have in the state. So if George Jones were here today, I would ask him to sing a new song, and a different song entitled, They Started Doing Something Today.
Manchester, the county seat of Clay County. Clay County population, 23,631. Area square miles, 471. Rank, 16th. Clay County is located in the 5th Congressional District.
When John Amos found out about it, he got his brother-in-law John Gilbert, who was one of the first settlers in this part of the country, and his brother-in-law John Sizemore, who lived where Hyden is today, and some of their boys and friends, and about 34 of them, I think. They rode over to invade the North Fork, and they had a little battle at the Battle of, they call it the Battle of Grapevine. And a few horses were killed, and the only people wounded was John Cox and a Nicholson man who weren't as closely allied with the Amoses and Gilberts as the others, but they happened to be the only ones that got shot and just got wounded. And the thing resulted, as a result of this feud, and of course I guess there were other shootings and so forth, the legislature on December the 2nd of 1806 passed a law creating this county. Now, the thing that indicates to me that the cattle war had anything to do with it is the fact the county stretched from the top of Big Hill, where you can hear the chapel bell of Berea College, all the way to the headwaters of Lots Creek, which heads up against Licking Valley in what's now Knott County, and that included all of Grapevine and all of the Middle Fork. And it included all of what is now most of Owsley, of course Clay, parts of Breathitt, Perry, Knott, a little bit of, I think, of what's now Knox County, Leslie County, Jackson County, a little bit of Estill County, and a little bit of Lee County, and of course all of Owsley County and Jackson County. The first county court was held on Monday, April the 13th, 1807. The first criminal court, and I'm not quite sure where it was held. Some said it was in Robert Baker's house, which a lawyer, Roy House, that died just this year, always claimed was across the river here, about where the railroad makes a spur over there. Mm-hmm. And but other places I find him living was down around Oneida. But
let me ask you this question: how did it get the name Clay County?
It was named for Green Clay, who was the father of Cassius, the Amorphous Green Clay. Of course, Green Clay later was a figure in the War of 1812, but this was before the War of 1812. I don't think he had any land in this part of the country. He did have some land in Estill County, but I think he was named just because he was a political figure in the county. And
can you tell us how old this courthouse is?
This courthouse was built in the 30s. Okay. I remember when I was just a kid, somewhere around 1930, being at a trial here of, which must have been about 1928, 29, or 30, and it was in a different building, a brick building that did burn. But all of the records have been saved, except some have been pilfered. But there's a few lost and this sort of thing. But we have all of our records, and they go back to that far back.
Could you tell us what the major industries are in Clay County?
Coal, and some tobacco. As far as agriculture is concerned, tobacco. There's a little livestock, but not too much. That's about it. And a little timbering, little. There used to be quite a bit of stave production here, and but the first big industry, of course, was salt, and it went out by 1900.
Now, something I wanted to ask you yourself. You're holding two books. Can you tell us what those books are?
One is When They Hang the Fiddler, which is, well, both of them are just collections of short stories that I have written for for a little newsletter. And the first one was When They Hang the Fiddler, and the next one was The Sugar Pond and the Fritter Tree. And these have, well, one of the stories in them is a story. When They Hang the Fiddler is the story of the trial and hanging of Isaac Callahan, who was a brother-in-law to my great-great-grandfather, and caused the Wilson family to move so that the grandchildren married differently than they would have, otherwise I would not have been born. So you would have been interviewing somebody else this morning.
Okay. Let me ask you one more question to help with tourism. Tell us one thing, one of the things that is worth seeing outside of the hills themselves.
Oh, the hills themselves. I would say the history of the place, the families here. If you happen to have a link to the families here, I have correspondence from practically every state in the Union regarding long dead ancestors who lived in Clay County, who went to Missouri, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, California. I can't think of any place else I'd rather live, and there's lots of people move here from, even some damn Yankees moved in here, you know, and
Okay.
lived here.
My name is Brian White.
Okay.
Here it is.
My name's John M. Little.
What can you tell us about your grandfather?
It was my great-grandfather. He was born in 1818 in Russell County, Virginia, and he introduced the first laws on behalf of the education.
Albany, the county seat of Clinton County. Clinton County population, 9,830. Area square miles, 196. Clinton County is located in the 5th Congressional District. Today we're at Albany in Clinton County. We find that we have three gentlemen here that are going to give us a little bit of the history and background of Clinton County and Albany. First of all, I'd like to ask each of these gentlemen to introduce themselves to us.
I'm Jack Ferguson.
Perry Cross. I'm David Cross.
First, David, let me ask you, of course this is your father with us today, and I'm sure you're proud to have a good heritage here in the county of Clinton County. What can you tell me about your experiences and growing up here in the area and becoming a lawyer? I'm assuming that you graduated probably from one of the major law schools in the state, either UK or University of Louisville.
Graduated from U of L, John. It's a wonderful place to grow up, Albany is, and there's nothing like the feeling of fulfillment you get when you've been gone from home and get to come back to a small town, meet people on the street, they speak to you, you know all the storekeepers, you know where the people live, and you know the people you deal with. It's a marvelous feeling, and those who cannot experience it are really missing something. We've been back here about 2 years now practicing, and it's very stimulating and very enjoyable.
Let me ask you, Jack, I understand that you're working on a book about the history here of Clinton County and Albany. What can you tell us about that book that you're working on?
Right now, I'm holding in my hands Volume 2. Volume 1 is in the hands of the printer, and we're hoping very strongly that it'll be out the end of November. It's been an awful hard time getting this printed. You have to proof text and reread and all like that. Volume 2, which I'm holding here,